ego comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
And we're back. Good afternoon. I waited till afternoon this time. You can usually tell when I had a good therapy session because I go live after. Not always. It also depends on if I'm awake. But I'm a little more awake today because I have not. I have a lot of things that I could be justified about being angry about, but I see no purpose in it. And this is definitely progress for Dion. Well, my kids gave me some news over the weekend, and on Sunday we were talking, and they were saying, "You are very, very calm about this whole thing." I'm like, I know. I'm like, I'm usually not this calm. I'm not, it usually doesn't work this way. And they said, well, it's kind of scary. I'm like, oh, so even my calmness is scaring it, but I understand the calm before the storm, but I'm not going to go there either. No, I'm not. See, my actions seem to have a profound effect on others, especially when it comes to my direct family. And I think I put them through enough. I don't need to put them through anymore. It's now Dion's turn to stand up, do the right thing. Right. Be the bigger person. I don't know about being the bigger or better person, that kind of, Right. Yeah, there it is. Power change things I can, aka being calm. Yeah. We always end my therapy sessions with how was your social anxiety this week? And we hadn't met for 2 weeks, and but anyway, I had gone to a friend's band practice last Saturday, not this past Saturday, but the one before it, and she's like, well, what did you do when you got anxious? I said, I went and had a cigarette. And she's like, okay, deep breathing. I said, yeah, deep breathing. That was it. So indignation is a form of justified anger. This was going to be called justified anger, but indignation was kind of has a better title. And I think I rode the ride on my Podbean for a while there. I'm not getting the downloads like I usually do, but that's okay. It comes and goes, man. It comes and goes. That's okay. There's got a lot of neat things going on in my life, and I ran it by my therapist, a few other people, and I went and meditated. Huh? I just took a little break. Could be the same thing. Good point. Next time I'll say I meditated. And she'll probably say, you smoked a cigarette. I'm like, you little shit. But I've been asking a lot of people if I'm right for what it is that I'm doing. And, I know I educate, but more than anything, really, I advocate. And I've been doing a lot of it lately. And so what I've been doing more is, I had one little thing today, CBS wants to talk to me. about some things. We'll see what happens. It might turn into a news story. I'm not sure, but you know, it isn't going to take much to get done what we need to get done. I also asked that may we do a news story about how a lot of our funds are gone, but there are still some great programs out there that are free or Medicaid based, that can really help some people out. One of those would probably be mine, which I'm working on. I think I got Aurora Mental Health. I'll be doing a lot of training around it, and the concept is this. Um, it's my job. Like when I was talking with Kathy. Okay, she's the assistant to the executive director of Aurora Mental Health. She's second in command, is what she is, right? And I'm like, there are things that I can do that none of your counselors can. And it's because of my experience. I can get away with saying certain things. Like God. You can't say that. I can say that. And things like that. But really, the way I describe it is it's my job to help them be willing and to understand the depth and weight that they're in, the seriousness of what they're in. Then I can hand them over to you, and then you can do your job. It is my job. Okay. We're switching to Friday. Sorry, around the same time. Okay. All right. So Amber, tomorrow, whenever is clever for you, because now I'm not going to do that until Friday. So, all right. So let's do some introductions here, but I am going to meet up with you somewhere. I see it as a chance to get out of the house, even if it's a little bit. But I don't mind, because I'm going to meet a friend, and if you want me to see your sales room, maybe yell at a couple of employees like, "Get the fuck back on the phone." I used to say things like, "God, it is awfully quiet in here." Welcome to the Daily Trudge. I had a lot of fun being a sales manager. I hated working the phones, but I've always just wanted to be the boss. If you're here, please say hello, whether you watch the live or the rewatch. Oh, you little shit. Amber Rose says K. She put out a post that she's like, to all those people that give thumbs up as a reply to text, well, fuck you. And so I gave a thumbs up on it. And I wrote her about it. I'm like, I hate it when people say K. Like, that, what is it? So she got a little revenge there. All right. And that was that right there. Those are both great examples of indignation. Indignation. All right. So justified anger, also known as righteous anger or indignation, is a strong feeling of moral outrage or resentment in response to injustice, harm, or unfair treatment. It is a natural human response. Absolutely, it is. When someone's rights are violated, or when they witness or experience a situation that is clearly wrong. Much as possible, they'll be off, and I'm not sure. Well, okay, we'll figure it out. Like if I have to meet you tomorrow morning, or even if it's a different day, that's fine. We'll figure it out. That's fine. Whatever is easiest for you, or even if you just want to swing by and drop it off, that's fine too. I understand separating personal and work. I don't know that I'd really want my friends invading my work. Oh, well, this is my workspace and you're in it all the time. Give K as a reply, not thumbs up. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, there goes interwebs. All right. Well, we'll see you again in 10 minutes if I'm still here. So it's a strong feeling of moral outrage. Sometimes you see these videos where people are doing social experiments. Maybe this kid is sitting on a bench and there's another guy there, and somebody comes up and tries to get got it, Amber. Okay. I don't know how they spill the beans. Nobody at Night Owls knows me. Oh, they watched you make it. Okay. Well, if they say anything about it, I'll just go la 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 la. Ooh, she gave me his. Okay. So, and there's a social experiment, and some other person comes along and tries to abduct this kid, right? But it's social experiment, oh, it's all safe. And the person over here gets violent and just knocks the dude out. Because that's how I would react. It's how I would. Is it is it the right reaction? Oh, God, I want to say yes. All right. Maybe not violent, but maybe they get up in their face and get very angry. And then they get angry at the person. Oh, it's just an experiment. It's just an experiment. Well, I don't know. In this case, I kind of think you need your ass chewed. But does that mean it's okay to have justified anger with it? Okay. I'm not so much concerned with the person that is receiving the justified anger as much as I am concerned about you. We alcoholics cannot live with anger. We can't. We can carry this stuff on for days. It can ruin a whole month for us, man. And so, I kind of put something out about it a little bit earlier, and somebody brought up a good point. Pick your battles, man. Pick your battles. Right? We're a very reactionary people. I don't know. Sometimes I think reaction might be like if you see somebody in trouble, and doing something. But now we're kind of getting into specifics, and I probably shouldn't do that. So the rest of this, I'm going to try and just keep it as a generalization, right? So we'll go with a generalization. So here's some examples of justified anger. Witnessing or experiencing abuse, violence, or discrimination. How about that 2020 dude he has a series called What Would You Do? Where people are being picked on in social situations, or, there's an old person counting their change and there's a person behind them going, hurry up, you're old, and got those things. Justified anger is a natural response to witnessing or experiencing such acts. All right. Hey, Michelle, good to see you. I'm glad to see you made it home safe. And witnessing this, and this could even bring up past trauma for you, but it's our reaction. It's our action that counts in these things, right? So let's go back to that situation I created earlier about a kid sitting on a bench and they're doing a social experiment and somebody comes along. Do I need to get to the point of violence? Do I need to get so angry that it affects me? And that's where the problem lies for us. Maybe all I really need to do is just get up and stand in between them, or start dialing 911 or record them. Maybe I don't do something physical, right? Or ask questions. Do you know this person? Do you know? And because if I can have that calm demeanor, I'm probably going to get more done. Okay. I'm not saying don't fight the good fight. Do it. Advocate. But there's a big difference between justifiable anger, indignation, and advocating. Advocating, you might raise your voice, but we don't need the things that we need to avoid are name calling. What's a justifiable? You know what I want to, the two things I hear the most: God will take care of them, and karma. Well, karma will take care of that. These are things that lead to justifiable anger. Is God going to take care of it? No, he has his children. I don't buy into that. I don't buy into God will take care of them. Is he? We have self-will. We have self-will. Right? Oh, yeah. Environmental destruction. Many people feel justified anger when they witness or experience environmental degradation. Um, I think a Democrat wrote this. I'm just kidding. Look what's going on with North Carolina. People are still suffering. Look what's going on in LA. People are still suffering. It's 3:33, by the way. People are still suffering. And there's a lot of people out there that are angry because they are still suffering. That would be an example of an environmental. Human rights oppression, a big topic, hot topic right now, is it not? Between what's going on with the trans community, immigration. I'm not trying to get into politics. I'm just bringing up things that are going on right now, right? Keeping others down. In the recovery field, this is going on. The human rights oppression, that people are not able to get to the correct resources because they're not there, right? Only thing I'm allowed to do according to the big book is pray for them. I would give you a situation, but I know what you're saying with that. Like, but if you were in this situation, that's a what if, and that's not even fair to ask somebody. What is that again? That's indignation. If I would have done that, it would have been indignation. Oh, I'm going to get angry at you now because you didn't agree with me on that. Right? We have great examples here, man. We really do. And what's great about our examples is they're usually happening right now. I don't know how many times I've 10th stepped on here. A lot. Right. It is crazy, Michelle. You know, but I do get it. I understand the fear. I do. You know, I have a lot of empathy. A lot of empathy. And I always have to be very, very careful of my empathy because it'll lead to not justified, but righteous anger. Right? It can lead to righteous anger. Even when I was saying about earlier that I don't believe that in the saying, God will take care of it, will take care of them. Okay. Now I can advocate on that and that's okay. But if I get into a point where I'm name calling and making assumptions and doing this and doing that, then I'm no longer advocating. Now I'm name calling. Big Book doesn't say wish karma or God on them. It says pray for the asshole. Pray for the asshole for 2 darn weeks. Right? What's a good way to think of it? Well, if I'm going to bring it up or if I'm going to do something, then maybe I should have a solution. If I just want to bitch about the problem, that's one thing. That's probably where I should be going to therapy or I need a closed mouth friend. But I need somebody that's going to help me get to a solution to that because it is much better to advocate than it is to go into anger. Advocating does much more. All right. Oppression and violations of human rights can trigger. Notice how some of these, what they're saying is it's a trigger. Well, if it's a trigger, then there's trauma. So is it the justifiable anger or is it my trauma? If I'm not allowed to disagree. Exactly. If I got offended, and there it is. Allowing other people to make me angry because I got offended. I tell you something. Amber and I don't agree on a lot of shit, but it doesn't matter. We don't need to. We don't need to. I'm sure Michelle and I, she's here also. I'm sure we don't agree on everything, but we don't need to. Yeah. So if I get triggered, whose responsibility is that? Mine. It's my responsibility. All right. And I tell you right now, my life got a lot easier when I started taking responsibility for my triggers. My life got a lot easier because I stopped blaming, Yeah. And even though it was my PTSD that was causing a lot of stuff, my PTSD is my responsibility. My mom called me today and she said, okay, I'm calling Mother's Day. And I had to give her shit. She's like, and I know you don't like family. I'm like, I love family. I used to like my brothers and sisters, but I love my kid. Yeah. I was trying to make a joke and it failed utterly. So I had to rewind a little bit and say, Mom, I was just trying to make a joke. It failed. Please feel free to say what you need to say because I could tell I made you a little nervous, right? Um, you know, and it turned out she's like, well, I thought you want to know that your aunt's going to be here, and she's my favorite auntie. And I said, oh yeah, I can put my shit aside to go see my aunt. Nothing. I'm happy to do that. And she's like, I figured you would be. Right. Air says, oh, Amber is scared she's not going to get what she wants or lose what she has. I keep a lot of my opinion to myself. People don't even know how much they disagree with. Yeah. And I'm sure I'm half of it. I'm assuming I shouldn't do that. All right. Well, and I get it. Let's talk a little bit about this. Yeah. So unfair treatment, and we'll get to that. In general, I don't really care what people have to say about me. But like my ex-wife, she talks a lot of crap about me, but she keeps it to my daughter, and my daughter knows me better. There's nothing, do I feel the need to defend myself? Yes, I do. Do I? No. No, I do not. But that doesn't mean I don't care what people think about. The only reason I am worried about what she says about me is because I care very much what my daughter thinks about me. Yes, I do. Absolutely, I do. After my wife, she's probably the next person in this world that I care what she thinks about me. It's a love for a daughter, man. Runs deep for me. Okay. So is the fear that she's going to say something that is untrue or tell some part of my past to her that is true that would change her mind about me? Either way, it's a fear, is it not? And fear leads to anger. And then I'm going to justify talking my own shit about her. See how so if I allow that in, and focus on it, then it will lead to that. And it is much easier. It is so much easier to go to anger in the short term. In the long term, it screws my whole day. This morning, something could have made me angry. I decided not to do it. I'm like, nah. And I started my day over. I don't care if it was 5 seconds of negativity. I tend to okay, we're starting over today, and that's okay. I wouldn't have been able to do this. I wouldn't have had a good, there were things that I was able to get done today because I didn't stay in that mindset. Okay. Because a lot of times for me, that leads to self-pity. And then not only do I have my anxiety, but then my depression comes on. And that's pretty unfair to me. That's unfair to me, man. I've been working real hard the last 2 weeks to be nicer to me. Real hard. Unfair treatment, being unfairly treated or denied access to something deserved can lead to justified anger. Michelle says, I brought up today, it's hard to buy what other people think about me is none of my business. It is hard. Absolutely, it is hard. My son said what you would do with that information. Oh, yeah, that could be bad. Yeah. I have some great closed mouth friends in my life. 2 of them are here. There's stuff that's been going on with me that out of all my friends, Amber's the only one that I told because it wasn't my business. But I need to let somebody know that was a friend that knows who I am. Right. And then yesterday, we hadn't said anything in a little bit. And she writes me, are you okay? See, to remind me, hey, what we're doing here. It's pretty cool stuff. And I'm glad that I get to experience friendships like this because I've never had good friendships like this before, ever. It's new to me. And it's exciting. It's exciting. So unfair treatment. Man, I've always felt like I've been treated differently than everybody. It seems like sometimes, and of course, is just my magnifying mind, where it just seems like a lot of things happen to me because I advocate and change them so it doesn't happen to the next person. But I don't think that's quite true. I think that happens to a lot of us, right? So that's what I try and keep in mind too. Well, we can't let this happen to the next person. So what is the solution to this? How can we change it so that it doesn't happen? Because I talk to a lot of people that have servants' hearts, and they want what is best for whoever they're talking to also. Injustice and wrongdoing. Witnessing injustice or wrongdoing can spark justified anger. It reminds me of a Simpsons episode, and it came out years ago. And it was the episode where the wife, Homer and Martha, Marge, gets a job as a police officer. And she suddenly realizes that her entire family is breaking the law everywhere. Now that she was no longer naive to things, she saw it everywhere. And it made her angry. She ended up quitting so she'd be naive. But you can kind of see my point on that. This mom was mad her kid forgot underwear and put his pants on backwards. Isn't that her responsibility? Yeah. And actually, that's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. And did you get on her about it? Did you go over there and give her some of your justified anger? No. All right. What is 80% of the program? Keeping your fucking mouth shut. Like stuff that was going on this weekend. There were a lot of things. There was a lot of things that I wanted to say, but they were not for my child to hear. I kept that to my wife and my therapist, right? All right. What are some things that we can do to avoid indignation?
Indignation is a strong feeling of righteous anger.
Key and perceived no, that's not what I asked. How to stop being indignant. Start by considering these 10 anger management tips. All right. First tip, think before you speak. There you go. They tell non-alcoholics to wait 2 seconds before you speak. I take 4. Nobody notices, but I need that extra 2 seconds. So think before you speak. Here we are. This is a kindergarten thing, right? Think before you speak. Because what comes out of your mouth, you cannot take back. Nope. Nope. Oh, it's in the past. Yeah, but it still hurts. Yeah, it's in the past. No. You ever seen that Lion King one where Mufasa's talking to Simba and they're talking about, well, it's in the past and stuff. And Mufasa hits him upside the head or so. He hurts him. He's like, ow, that hurts. Yeah, but it's over now. Yeah, but it still hurts. See, that's how words are, man. You cannot take it back. No matter what you could do, you can apologize up and down, but that person, their feelings are not going to change. It happened to me a lot when I was drinking. All right. Once you're calm, express your concerns. Get a different perspective first before you talk about it. Right. Maybe it's one of the things that they actually teach in counseling, couples counseling a lot. Right. Like a lot of times when I was still drinking, if my wife and I argued, one of us would just leave the house. But that it wasn't quite, because then you don't know where are they going, when will they be back. So the rule is, and this hasn't happened in a long time, but the rule is if you're angry and you need space, you just need to say, I'm going for a walk. I will be right back. And you don't need to do anything else. And that is something that we've kept. So if I'm too angry, I can just say, hey, you know what? I need some better thoughts on this. I need to give myself a different perspective because I'm getting really angry and I don't want to say something that I'll regret. All right. So as soon as you're thinking clearly, express your frustration in an assertive and non-confrontational way. State your concerns and needs clearly and directly without hurting others or trying to control them. Use I statements. Okay. Get some exercise. That's the same as, once you're calm. Take a time out. And you can even call it that. Hey, I need to take a time out. Now, in order for that to work, both parties need to be okay with it. You can't make that rule and then they're like, oh yeah, but I'm not done talking. It doesn't fucking matter. They're not going anywhere. Because alcohol, at least I know for this alcoholic, when I was in those situations, it was overwhelming. Like, we're going to break up right now in the end of the world and we're going to lose everything. And, might as well just pack my shit and go now. And yeah. Sound familiar? God, I'm glad that I don't live that way anymore. It has been a long time since my wife and I got into an argument. It'll happen again and it'll be about the kids. It's always about the kids. And I will admit that the main reason that we don't argue is because my wife has a lot more patience than I do. But I'm discovering it. She's allowing me to make progress on that. What I talked about earlier, that if we're going to have self-righteous anger, if we're going to have indignation, if we're going to do that, then you better identify possible solutions. It is the main reason why I like having tough conversations, because I want to find the solution. I want what's going to be best for everyone concerned. Everyone. Right? So what does that mean? Well, it probably means I need to take a time out and think about the other people that it's affecting. Right? Like if you're a couple and you have a little kid and you're arguing all the time and you're yelling and screaming all the time, you know how the kid's going to express their feelings? The same way. The same way. It was a man that raised me that taught me when we were angry, we put holes in the wall. So that's what I did. Okay. But as you get older, you can't use that excuse anymore. And I'm proud to say there's not one hole in the wall in this house. I haven't put a hole in a wall in a while. Yeah. That's why my fingers are all working. Oh, by the way, my middle finger is doing much better. For anybody that was probably didn't remember or anything, what I was getting was what they call trigger finger, because it would just get stuck like that, and I'd have to go pop, and it hurt. So they gave me a. You can still kind of see the hole, but it hasn't been giving me. It still pops a little bit, but yeah. So it's better anyway, right? So instead of focusing us on what made you mad, work on resolving the issue at hand. Does your child's messy room make you upset? Close the door or clean it up. But close the door for now, right? Is your partner late for dinner every night? Schedule meals later in the evening. Or agree to eat on your own a few times a week. Also understand that some things are simply out of your control. And aren't we grateful for the program now? Because it teaches us that in the Serenity Prayer. Amber was talking about it earlier. Try to be realistic about what you can and cannot change. Remind yourself that anger won't fix anything and might only make things worse. Stick with I statements. Yeah. Let's see what they have to say here, because I can't think of any decent examples. Criticizing or placing blame might only increase tension. Instead, use I statements to describe the problem. Be respectful and specific. For example, say, I am upset that you left the table without offering to help with the dishes instead of you never do any housework. That's a great example. That's a really good one, right? Because you're identifying your feelings, but you're still, the thing is, you have to own your anger. That's what an I statement does. Well, you make me angry. See, that's not true, though. I'm allowing that to happen. I'm allowing the anger. So you can't make me feel anything if I don't allow it. And that's why I stand. So when I say, um, I'm upset that you left the table without offering to help do the dishes, is much different than you never do anything around here. Now we're going to get into an argument. Oh, yeah? Well, that's because they're going to feel the need to defend themselves because I'm poking a finger at them. And don't you feel the need to defend yourself when that happens to you? Does with me. Now, if it is happening to you, have a little patience. Maybe you can be the person to say, hey, do you need a few minutes? I'm willing to wait. No, I'll just I'll doom scroll on Instagram until you get back or whatever. But if you need a few minutes to clear your head, go for it and I will come back. Allow for that too. And it's got to work both ways. Yeah, I know, like earlier when I was talking about my mom and I cracked a joke that did not work. Okay. And I had to reverse say, I was trying to make a joke and it failed. See, I used an I statement, and then I said, "But please feel free to speak what you wanted to say." That was it. I was able to clear it up. It was bad and not very funny. Don't hold a grudge. Gotta let things go, man. Yeah, but they keep doing it over and over and over. Yeah, but you can't let them. You know. Amber says, "I clean it." Work with your significant other. Yeah, but we're Virgos, and this is the way it kind of works in our house. If Shannon cooks, I clean. I hardly ever cook, so I usually do the dishes. Right? She has a full-time job. Yeah, I work in the sense that I get to do all of this, okay, and I get to help people out and advocate and things like that. But I do 90% of the housework. Okay. I ask her to do a few things on the weekends, but that's also her time off. So I don't really ask her to do much. Not only that, but the kids usually need us. So forgiveness is a powerful tool. If you allow anger and other negative feelings to crowd out positive feelings, you might find yourself swallowed up by your own bitterness or sense of injustice. Forgiving someone who angered you might help you both learn from the situation and strengthen your relationship. There was one thing that Shannon said to me years ago. She said, because she's like, I'm never angry with you. I'm like, I don't quite get that being an alcoholic. But she said, how could I be angry with the person I love the most in this world? I was like, well, son of a bitch. She was right. Why would I want to be angry with the person I love the most in this world? Right. Now, if you think I don't get on her nerves, of course I do. I wouldn't be a very good husband if I didn't pick on her some. Right. And there's sometimes I screw up and I give her a hard time when it was not an appropriate time to give her a hard time. And you know what she does? She uses an I statement to let me know. And then I change. Use humor to release tension. This is my favorite thing because confrontation I'm fine with, but when the tension, I will crack a joke. I can't help it. I might break into song. Right? Lightening up can help diffuse tension. Use humor to help you face what's making you angry and possibly any unrealistic expectations you have for how things should go. Avoid sarcasm, though. It can hurt feelings and make things worse. Practice relaxation skills. They kind of lump like 3 or 4 in there. They use one thing for like 3 or 4 of these. Get some exercise, take a time out, practice relaxation skills. Okay. When your temper flares, put relaxation skills to work. Practice deep breathing exercises. I got to do the joke or have a cigarette, which is what we're calling it right now. Earlier, if you weren't here, my therapist was, because I went and did something. I'm like, there were a few times when I was getting a little anxious. She's like, well, what'd you do about that? And I said, well, I went and had a cigarette. And she's like, she acted like she was right. And she goes, okay, deep breathing exercise. Oh. And last but not least, know when to seek help. So, all right, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out and have a day.